Hello and thank you for watching. I'm Jennifer with Olympia Piano. If you have not visited my channel before, welcome. I'm happy to see you here. Today's video is going to be video number 1 of the Clair de lune study guide. And what I'm hoping to achieve in these videos is bringing your attention to things that are tricky about this piece because it's such a beautiful piece and everyone wants to play it. I want you to play it as best you can, and I don't want you to be confused about anything. Today's lesson is going to be a music theory lesson on understanding the rhythm and the meter of this piece. All right, so here at the beginning, this is what we're going to start with, this 9/8. So that 9/8 is the time signature. This particular time signature is what we call compound meter. We've seen time signatures before, 2, 4, 3, 4, 4, 4, and usually that top number tells us what to count to. So if we're in 2/4, we have 2 quarter notes. Each of those is going to get 1, 2. And if we split those into eighth notes, it's going to be 1 and 2 and. And if we split that into 16th notes, you can keep splitting it down, and so forth. So this is called simple meter. It's simple meter because the subdivisions are just splitting in half, okay? However, in compound meter, that does not mean we're going to count to 9 every measure. What we're going to do is we're going to take the eighth notes and we're going to put them in groups of 3. So in simple meter, our beat was a quarter note, but in compound meter, when you have the 8 on the bottom, your beat is going to be a dotted quarter note. Just to explain the dot on the side of the note means add half of it. So a quarter note would be equal to 2 eighth notes, and then you're adding half. So the compound meter beats are dotted quarter notes. And so the way we count compound meter, instead of 1 and 2 and, is going to be 1 and a, 2 and a, 3 and a. And so before taking a look at the music and playing a little bit, I want to show you 2 other things. We would count the same way. This would be counted 1 and a, 2 and a, 3 and a. And I want you to just notice here when we split into eighth notes, you would say 2 things because 2 eighth notes equals a quarter note. Here you're saying 3 things because we have the 2 eighth notes for the quarter note and the 1 thing for the dot. But the thing that we're going to see a lot in the Debussy, which can look a little tricky, is so what do we do for 2 beats? 2 beats is going to be 2 of these added together. So 2 quarter notes added together would be a half note. And then 2 eighth notes, in essence, added together would be a quarter note. So quarter note, half of a half note, that would equal 2 beats in this meter. So then how are we going to get 3 beats? Whereas if we had 3, 4, we'd just have a dotted half note because that would equal 3 beats. For this, we have to do something that looks a little unconventional, but it's precise. That would be the 2 beats plus 1 beat. So that would be equal to 3 beats. And then if we actually add this up, we've got 1 and a, 2 and a would be equal to this, and then the 3 and a would be equal to that. All right. I know that's a lot of information, but let me pull up the score and let's see if I can demonstrate now within the music to clarify a little bit. Okay, so as I mentioned in that introduction, each beat in that compound meter consists of 3 eighth notes, the counting 1 and a, 2 and a, 3 and a. So let's put that into play for the first 2 measures so you can see and hear how that works. And just to clarify here at the beginning, try not to get confused with how the counting is going to work. This beat, or number 1, is going to go and cover this eighth rest and that eighth rest. The and will cover this eighth rest and that eighth note. This will come in on the and then we've got a dotted quarter, so that will be 2 and a. It's 3 things because it's equal to 3 eighth notes, and then 3 and a. Same thing here, 1 and a. And then here we've got that long, and here we've got the 3 beat tie that I showed you. Here we just have 1 joined to a tie. All right, let me pull up my keyboard. So now I'll just count out loud and play those first 2 measures. going to put the pedal down before I start playing. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, I hope that makes sense so far. Compound meter, 3 beats. Each beat has 3/8 notes in it. However, Debussy loves to do something which is very beautiful, but it can be confusing the first time that you see it if you don't understand this. So let's go over that next. And that happens right away in measure 3. Okay, so we're joyfully going along in 9/8. Then all of a sudden we hit measure 3 here. And you might notice these little teeny tiny 2s. They are in a different font than finger numbers. These are not finger numbers. When they're above the beam like that, they mean something to do with the rhythm. We have this tie, which makes it even more confusing with these little 2s. Okay, so what Debussy is telling us here is he wants us to play, instead of 3/8 notes per beat, which is the normal subdivision, which would be this dotted quarter note, he would like us to play 2/8 notes in the space of 3. In essence, if normally a beat would be like 3 pieces of pizza, then all of a sudden he's wanting us to slow down to 2. So these notes here are going to be slower. So the way I like to have you figure it out exactly how to play them is to take 3 times 2 and create 6 16th notes. You can see exactly where those fit in. So when we have the regular subdivision, the regular 9/8, no extra things written up here, each eighth will get 2 16ths. Nice and organized. However, when you have the little 2s over there, 2/8 notes in the space of 3, we're going to split this exactly in half. So these 8th notes with a little 2 above them are actually going to be equal to 3 16th notes. So for counting those, sorry, I'm running out of space here. They come right after the second thing that you'd be saying. So if we're saying, in this case, it would be on beat 2. 2 and would be the regular subdivision. So I say 2 and Okay, let me show you what I mean. So 1 and 2. We say the and before we play the note. And then, of course, this is tricky because then you have to hold this because that's a tie. 3, you say the and, the note comes right after the and then the comes after that. So 2 and 3 and so come there. So let me pull that up and play that. 1 and 2 and 3 and Okay, so on my page 2, measure 15th, I'm just going to go over these first 2 measures, reinforcing what we just did. We see this little 2, and that 2 kind of couples this 8th rest and that together. Similarly here, this 8th rest and that. So the 8th rest will get the 1. We'll have the and before that, 2 and 3 and then regular subdivision, but then here's that 2 again, 2 and 3 and Let me play that for you. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and a little faster. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and So then we have kind of the same thing right here. There's a little grace note in here. But then check this out. There's only 6 8th notes in this measure, not 9. And if you look carefully, you can see this little tiny 6 there. So that just means basically we have 3 of the 2s. but they're just beamed all together as one beam with a 6. All right, so these are going to be slower. Each of those eighth notes is technically equal to 3/16 notes. So the way the counting will go here will be 1 and 2 and then play 3 and normal counting here, 1 and 2 and 3 and so let me play those two measures because we have a few of these groups of 6, so it's going to be slower, and then faster here. I'm going to start on that middle measure, which is measure 19. Again, we have a tie, so I'm just going to get my right hand ready. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and let me do that one more time. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and So now let's take a look at measure 33. And here we have one more of those differently beamed eighth note situations. Happens on beat 2. Beat 1 is normal, so we have 1, 2/16 and 2/16, 2/16. Then we have this 4. All that's telling us is that it's two groups of those slower eighth notes that are equal to 3/16 notes. And the nice thing is here we see the 3/16 notes. So it's easy to see that those are slower. So the way that counting will work is each subdivision is going to be equal to 2/16 notes. So it's going to be 2, then the and will go on that one. And then here's my extra little dash, and then the last two will get the 3 and So please do not play it faster just because they're grouped in groups of 3s. There's no little 3 saying triplet, 3 notes in the space of 2. So please don't play it like this, but rather keep all of those 16th notes exactly equal and then fit those 8th notes in right after the and. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and So that is it for today's lesson. I know this was a longer one, but the compound meter and kind of understanding those subdivisions is really essential to playing this piece. So I wanted to really make sure I said it in as many ways as I could. Please be on the lookout for the other videos in this Clair de Lune study guide series. They're not going to all be this long. And you can subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any. You can also mention my channel, share with others who might enjoy this style of teaching. You can also make a donation to this channel so I can create more content like this. Donations can be made either through PayPal or through the YouTube Super Thanks, which you see at the bottom of your screen. So I appreciate all of those. I appreciate your support, and please let me know if you have any questions in the comments. And the other thing that I love to know in the comments is, where are you from? So please let me know that as well, and I will look forward to seeing you in the next video. As always, thank you for watching.